First off, so I'm thinking knowledge. What made you start Insight? Where's the driving force, the passion that you've started to ensue into this project of yours?
I think I've had to answer this question a number of times, and again, the answer is still the same because that's the answer. The birth of Insight was born out of the fact that I was looking to help people. And at the time in my life, you know me, Fraser, you've been very close to me. At the time in life, I realized that my incoming or my financial power wasn't enough to help the number of people I want to help, especially back home in Africa. It felt like I was working, I was getting paid, and all my money was, we could call it charitable giving, was just going out because of my need and desire to want to help. And I realized that it's not sustainable because I basically was running out of cash at the time. And there's this famous quote that says, if you give a man a fish, he eats for one day. But if you teach a man to fish, he eats forever. And what was happening is, at the end of every month, I spend the cash I got paid and money I have helping people. And the next month, they come back again. So I thought, okay. And something else was, I didn't later realize that some of these people are not genuine. They're just taking advantage. So I thought, okay, let's find out who's genuine. Let's teach them how to fish. Let's teach them how we got to where we got to. And then what you will find is, once I started that, the people who are genuine bounced on it and began to help themselves with the principles I was teaching.
I guess the knock-on effect of them helping the community around them too.
So because now they are impacted, they now know the principle, they are also helping, also impacting the same thing to the people around them. So exactly where we say, if each one of us reach one, together we can change the world. Now, but if each one of us reach one other person who's unserious, I promise you the world is not going to change. So it needs to be someone who's serious to actually change their life for good. Besides that, there was also the whole fact that I noticed that as humans, we tend to get cluttered by our emotions, and we allow our emotions drive us. And a lot of times, it's not that people don't want to succeed or people don't know what to do, but we make decisions based on our emotions. And like they say, in life, we make decisions, those decisions decide a life we have.
We're all very emotional people anyway, we're all driven by that.
Absolutely.
It's about, I guess, keeping it in check or knowing. I always find setting an outer goal, a goal that you know you need to reach to, and try to, as long as you steer course to it all the time, you can allow less distractions, less emotional.
Absolutely.
What is it? Noise, background noise.
It's called noise, distractions. And the thing with emotions is they change. Like flip of finger, you change quickly because 1 minute you're in love, the next minute you're thinking, is this the right person for me?
You're
sad.
1
minute you're happy, the next minute someone calls you with the news, you're sad. 1 minute you feel like, oh, I'm living an amazing life. The next minute something happens, you're like, you start questioning your life. And how then can you plan a life, plan a future based on something that changes so quickly? It's difficult. So if you look at my initial catchphrase, it was eliminating emotional bias in our daily living. Because a lot of times, it's not that we don't know how to make a decision, it's not that we can't make the right decision, but we allow our decisions to be influenced by our emotions. And that means that at every given time, whatever decision you're making is a function of your emotion at that given time.
So are you an advocate of logic over any emotional decision? Do you believe in your gut response, or are you more data-driven in every decision you make? I don't think you can be, but that's my opinion. What's your inflection?
Now, as a person, I find, again, is that thing where we said the first principle of life is, oh man, know thyself. Now, as a person, I know that I am one that when I make decisions based on emotion, I get them wrong. Now, if based on guess, without data, I get it wrong. I am logical. I like looking at stuff, which helps me look into the long term and look at the distant future and the impact. Now, that is not to say, because I know there are people who are gifted emotionally. People who can make decisions. Of course, there are very few. However, we all like to think that even when we are angry, we can still make the right decision. But as a person, I know myself that without data, I don't really make decisions that in long term I feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
It may get me out of the fixes very minute, but in the long term, it may not be the best. And they say you don't use, when you make temporary solutions permanent,
Yeah.
it create permanent problems. So if I make solutions or make decisions based on temporary circumstance, like emotions,
Yeah.
it creates permanent problems for me up front. Now, again, there are people who are very good, they call it emotional IQ. You know, I
Yeah.
don't have that. I don't have that. I look at everything logically, and if there's data, data never lies. Mathematics, 2 plus 2 is always 4.
Could you say that's quite a cold outlook there? I think emotion is a way you can, I don't know. I think emotion is a lot of it's emotional IQ, as you put, but
spontaneity with it.
There's some warmth with emotion.
Absolutely.
You can do, that's where some altruistic process, and I know this from you, I've known you for a while. You're very good at creating moments with people, and you don't do it to get something back in the end. It's because you leave, you go off and you just create that moment that will rest with somebody for a long time. That's, to some extent, you've created an emotional response for them, but there's nothing back. A logical output sometimes requires some, if you're doing everything logically and you wanted to create moments for people, you expect something back to some extent to go forward. It's not always the case with you, so you are emotionally responsive, you're helping people,
Absolutely.
but you don't expect nothing back in return.
So the drive behind that is, again, my desire is to help as many people as I can help.
Yeah.
Now, when you go out helping people and you want to make yourself known, they become loyal and thankful to you. But when you help people without them knowing that that gift came from you, they become loyal and thankful to everyone. And they reciprocate that to everybody around them, rather than just, because we live in a society where people, sometimes you send someone a gift and they remember to send you a gift in return.
Yeah.
But what you want is you want to impact someone's life, and they go on to impact as many as they could, rather than coming back to try and,
So the logic is that it's the mission of
expansion.
expansion. Yeah, I understand that. It's not so much a, you're not waiting for anything to come back in return, because your end goal is to reach as many people as possible.
Absolutely.
And if that is the knock-on effect of one action leading to many others,
And
the multiplier effect.
It's funny that you ask that question, because a lot of times the people who are closest to me look at me and they wonder where I'm going to and what my life is all about. And I look at them because they don't understand. I am where I'm going to. This right here is a life I want to live. You get to a certain point, you realize that all the money, or the wealth, the power, the influence, whatever it is you've got, if you cannot use it to influence life positively, then what use is it? You see, God blesses us so we can be a blessing to others. God doesn't bless us so we can show off.
Yeah.
So you can go showcasing your wealth.
No. I think you got a point there. It's a case of being humble.
Absolutely.
And also, your main mission is to spread some kind of happiness, or I think, like a reference to Bruce Almighty, we mentioned it yesterday. It's a one act of random kindness a day, and I think that's very much true, especially when you're walking around with you, going around Bristol with you the last few days, and you definitely impacted people just by your acts of kindness, and there's no emotional element within that. Well, there is. I believe there is, but it's it's a logical output of expansion and creating those moments for people. And I think that's a very.
If you think about it, the people we do this for randomly that doesn't even know us. So if you think about it, first step is they go home, they talk about it.
Yeah.
It creates that positive vibe in them,
Yeah.
like, oh, this random stranger just did this and made my day. They can't find you again to talk to you or say thank you or then depend on you.
Yeah.
It is the whole, I'm not saying, to be recognized, to be thanked is a bad thing.
No.
But I'm saying it sometimes reduces the fulfillment you get from doing these good deeds.
No, I agree.